And welcome back, because News Hour continues right now. And Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula, also the senator for the county of Bungoma, now joins me in studio. We want to discuss a lot of issues. And first off, let me begin by addressing something that you all remember in 2018, because this is really important. And this is what happened. He promised us noisy, messy divorce with casualties. I'm just wondering, Moses, 3 years on, we haven't seen any kind of mess. We haven't seen any kind of noise. And of course, we haven't seen casualties. Are there casualties? Was this just one of the empty promises from politicians whenever they are disgruntled?
If you live in Kenya, Ken, you must be seeing things happening. The noise, the mess, and the casualties are all over. Parties are crumbling. People are running helter-skelter in the political arena. People are changing their political alliances every other day. And the mess and the noise was not limited to the NASA fraternity, which I belong to legally up to today. But if you look around the country, my prediction has come true. In fact, I watch a program called News Gang, and those guys who participate in that program every other night pay tribute to me for such an accurate prediction that there is noise all over, there is mess all over, and there are casualties every other day.
But I think you were more direct when you spoke about this divorce, because it was at the same time that you were the minority leader at the Senate, and definitely it was targeted towards your coalition, which is NASA. So why would you bring in the other people?
But look at NASA today. Is NASA existing in lawyers? In fact, no. It is dead.
Okay.
The divorce is complete. ANC is on its own. Ford Kenya is on its own. Wiper is on its own. ODM is on its own. Although, as I'm sure we'll progress in these discussions, you'll see there are some new mutations coming up that are giving a pointer to what may look like in 2022.
Okay. But still, my concern is about your removal. Years later, looking back at how you were removed, do you feel a little bit of bitterness? Do you now see the justification of finding an ODM person to fill in that slot of the minority leader in the Senate by the virtue of the numbers they have in the Senate?
I'll tell you what. We were in a coalition, and the coalition had agreements and structures and protocols and MOUs that have not been honored. I do not think it is prudent on me to continue lamenting or crying about whether I should or should not be the minority leader, or whether I should or should not be in this position.
Okay.
I think what is important is where are we headed to? And I know where we're headed to. Yesterday's issues can inform the issues of today. Issues of today can determine issues of tomorrow. And in politics, you know, things change very rapidly. One day in politics, says Jawahar Nehru. It's a long, long time.
Okay.
Today's enemies in politics are tomorrow's very comfortable friends, and vice versa.
Okay. Looking at what happened to you, next it was followed by the removal of Kipchumba Murkomen on the other side, and the team of the other senators. Then after Kipchumba Murkomen, of course, we saw...
There it was not a removal, it was an annihilation.
Okay, but you'd argue the same thing with what happened to you.
Yes.
But after Kipchumba Murkomen, we've seen Caleb Kositany. Before Caleb Kositany, we see what happened in the National Assembly with Edin Duale. Looking back at the kind of coalitions that these parties make, would you have a justification for this dissolution of political parties ahead of coalitions, or you stand and say that political parties need to maintain their autonomy even as they form coalitions?
The two are not comparable, incidentally, because Jubilee is a singular party. It was not a coalition.
But they had to dissolve their parties.
They dissolved the parties, came together, formed a monolith called Jubilee, which is a big party, and to which all members had to adhere to its tenets, its rules, its constitution, and so on. So the implosion in Jubilee is totally different from what happened in NASA. In NASA, we were a coalition brought together by law, by willing players, and by signed agreements. where Wiper, Ford Kenya, ANC, and ODM were, and CCM were partners.
But it's easier for you right now, as those individual parties, to say that the divorce has been finalized and it's easy to move, looking at what's happening on the other side. And now the Deputy President's head is also on the chopping board because that's the discussion. Yes.
Again, the Deputy President's issues in Jubilee are implosions within the same party.
Yeah. But now, would you make a case for let's remain autonomous or a dissolution totally, because we're headed into a general election in about 17 months. Would you make a case for let's dissolve and form a coalition, or you would be let's remain autonomous so that if the divorce is messy, as you say, we can easily work out?
I cannot and will never in a long time to come advocate for dissolution of parties.
Okay.
I will always encourage parties that have got the same views, have got the same philosophy, to come together in a commonality of interest for the country, for the parties, for its members, to form coalitions that can help run the country.
Okay.
When things don't work, parties can always engage in a civil divorce and go back to where they came from or move on to somewhere else.
Okay.
That's why you find the party I lead for Kenya is the second oldest party in multi-party Kenya.
I'm going to talk about that because it's about 30 years old.
Yes.
It's about 30, 1992.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about that, but legally as a lawyer, do you think it's possible, I don't know if you have studied the constitution of the Jubilee Party, but is it possible for NSC NEC to remove William Ruto?
I have not,
as a party leader.
I don't know
leader,
the content of their constitution.
Yes.
But in any formation, there is always the entry and the exit.
Okay.
You may enter voluntarily and leave voluntarily, or you may enter voluntarily and be caused to leave.
Okay. I want to talk about the last time we met, and this was an interview I had on the other side before I came
the Nation.
Yes.
I was surprised to find you here.
Why are you surprised?
Because
people
I knew
move all
you
the
were
time.
the Nation.
We are nomads.
Yes.
We move.
Good.
You go for where there's a better deal, and here promises to be one. Let's talk about the last time you threatened with a coup. You know, I want to know substantially who are the leaders of Ford Kenya right now. Is it Wafula Wamunyinyi? Is it Moses Wetangula? But this is that conversation we had back last year, May, right?
Yes.
Yeah, last year, May. Here it is.
I told you, Ken.
Let's listen to the conversation, then we come back.
If you listen to me, Ken, I said, these people, Eseli is my boyhood friend. I have walked a long journey with him, and he knows what I've done in his favor. Wamunyinyi, I have walked a long journey with him. He lost elections in 2007. I appointed him a special envoy to the AU to Somalia.
Okay.
Wycliffe Wangamati.
Yes.
I carried him like a baby to the office.
We've had your constituents talk about that.
And I have no ill will against anybody, but I have a duty, a cardinal duty, to protect the image, the integrity, and the legal structure of the party.
Exactly. That's what you talked about.
And
These people are still on your lips. No? Wafula Wamunyinyi especially is still on your lips.
It bothers me the least. Like I told you, their so-called coup was dead on arrival.
Are you still the substantive leader of Ford Kenya?
Is there any other?
Wafula Wamunyinyi?
Where is he leading?
He claims, because just the other day he wanted a seat on the table.
You are very right. He claims.
But he wanted a seat on the table.
The party Ford Kenya has only one leader, and that leader is yours truly. Look at the events in the past few months. We have had by-elections. Our party has been fielding candidates. We fielded a candidate in Undanyi.
Yes.
We fielded a candidate in Kisumu West. We fielded a candidate in Kabuchai. You had the so-called coup plotters. They went public, and it was aired on your news channels.
Yes.
That Ford Kenya was not going to field a candidate in Kabuchai, that Ford Kenya was in dispute, Ford Kenya is not going to do this and that. What happened?
Okay.
We fielded a candidate. We are recognized by all the structures of government in terms of register of political parties, IBC. They tried to field a candidate in Matungu. Are you aware of that?
In Matungu?
Yes.
Well, we didn't see them on the ballot, so they tried.
Because they have no legitimacy to field a candidate.
Field the candidate.
Yes.
In your best thoughts,
Yes.
Do you think, because this is the time you are having a very turbulent time at the Senate, not because of your county, but because of the political party, in your view, were they sponsored to diminish you as Moses Wetangula in Western Kenya?
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, Ken, that the disturbances in our party were externally engineered.
Okay.
And that they have failed is not a matter that I want to spend my time and energy on.
Okay.
Because the party is vibrant. We've just had a resounding victory in Kabuchai.
I'll talk about Kabuchai.
And you saw that.
Yes.
This morning we had a very good management meeting of the party.
As a leader.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In preparation of events of the party going towards 2022. What we want to do, what we want to be, our role in the leadership of the country, and how we want to position ourselves to be a major parliamentary party by 2022, to be a major player fielding a presidential candidate and all other candidates in the next general elections.
I'm really interested in a lot of what you say, but now that you know that it was sponsored, have you reconciled with the three, the governor and the two members of parliament?
You reconcile with people who want to reconcile.
Do they want to reconcile?
Barack Obama said,
yes,
you cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. If people maintain a clenched fist, then there is little effort being made in reconciliation.
So you think they are not interested?
Like I did say to you in what you have played,
yes,
that I have no ill will against anybody. I lead the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to reconsider their misadventure, so to speak, the party is open to everybody.
Are you welcoming to them?
If you go to parliament,
yes,
Wamunyinyi is a member of Ford Kenya, although within NASA. Eseli is a member of Ford Kenya. Wangamati is a governor of Ford Kenya, and all the structures of the party.
Are you open to having them on the table?
Absolutely.
Let's listen to this soundbite, because this is what you had to say about one of them. Let's listen to this.
Once a divorce, it will be messy, it will be noisy, and it will not be easy.
The soundbite I want is when you are...
I know what it was.
Are we going to have the bite? Okay, there's a problem with that soundbite. But essentially, those are not the words that you use to describe a leader that you are interested in their sitting on the table. That's why I really want to play that soundbite. Joanne, if you can find it, I need you to play that bite for me.
Do you want us to go on?
All right, let's go on, because we can't find it.
Ken, you're asking questions as if you don't live in Kenya. Play back the clips and see and hear and understand and appreciate, for example, what President Uhuru Kenyatta said about Raila Odinga and what Raila Odinga said about Uhuru Kenyatta when we were fighting for elections. Hasn't there been a handshake?
There is a handshake.
And we're sitting on the same table?
But those are the dirty politics that Kenyans are not interested in. You need to take a stand.
Exactly. I agree with you that toxic politics should not have space in this country.
Exactly.
Yes,
so
I agree.
When you talk about Raila Odinga and shaking hands with Uhuru Kenyatta and trying to justify that it's okay what's happening, that's the kind of politics that Kenyans don't want. Why can't a leader just be able to take a stand and speak about the stand and be consistent, like you have been consistent in Ford Kenya? Why can't leaders do that?
You know, politics, Shakespeare said, is the art of the impossible. Sometimes I have said, and I want to repeat, some people, when they get to the political platforms, they engage their mouths and disengage their brains. And the roller coaster takes on. And we have seen many, many situations where people use very unsavory language, they use obscenities, they use very crude language, and so on and so forth. That has been the politics in this country.
Exactly.
But I agree with you. There should be no room for toxic politics. There should be decency in politics. There should be philosophical approach to politics where We argue about ideas, about issues, about manifestos.
Do you see us
and
getting to that point,
outdoing
Senator?
each other.
Do you see us getting to that point?
It will come.
When?
It will
How
come.
far do we have to wait for decent politics? Or there's no decency in politics?
You know, you can never legislate and enforce overnight good behavior. But with time, I'm sure there will be.
Okay.
For example, we have the NCIC. It is supposed to be the sheriff, so to say, that polices public against ethnic hatred in our public speeches, inflammatory speeches in our public discourses, abusive language in our public discourses, and so on and so forth. But regrettably, they don't have the teeth to bite, or if they have the teeth, they don't use them to bite. We want to see prosecutions of people who take leave of their senses when they embark on politics.
And when it's convenient for them.
And when it's convenient for them, they say things that are very good. When it isn't,
they don't.
They don't.
Okay.
And let me tell you,
yes,
this country has gone through some very rough patches in our history because of this kind of carefree political discourse. We have killed each other in 1993. You remember the clashes. We have killed each other in 1997. The country went on to an explosion in 2007.
Yes.
Some leaders have learned their lessons. Others don't seem to learn any lessons.
Okay.
And I pray to the Almighty that Kenyan politicians, as we move to the future, start moving away from politics of personalities, politics of abuses, politics of insults, and start addressing issues. For example, we have gone through situations where one would be expecting us to be addressing the corona crisis, the economic crisis, the public debt crisis, the food shortages in the country. Right now,
what are we talking about?
We are staring at the skyrocketing of fuel prices that will have an impact on virtually every sector, sector of life. But what are you seeing politicians talking about?
The BBI.
Wheelbarrow,
yes.
BBI,
yes,
and all other things. BBI is, of course, supposed to mitigate some of these things. But people are not articulating the positives in it.
Okay.
Now we are spending so much energy saying who is pro-BBI, who isn't for BBI, instead of saying what is in BBI.
Okay. I'd like to talk about, because the BBI is a story for another day, I'd like to talk about your political party, that is Ford Kenya. And my interest is, Ford Kenya increasingly, if I look at where Kijana Wamalwa the late left Ford Kenya,
yes,
in 2003 when he died,
yes,
if I look at where Musikari Kombo left Ford Kenya, and right now where you are with Ford Kenya, look at even the members of parliament, apart from Olagwa Lodge, look at the members of parliament, the distribution across the country. Yes. Increasingly, I would say this is a Bungoma and Trans Nzoia party. It's not a national party.
You are so wrong, Ken. It simply tells me how little you know about Ford Kenya.
Tell me how vast you can paint the Ford Kenya image across this country. Like, for example, yes, Jubilee has done, or yes, ODM has done.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, we are not the same size party, yes, as ODM. We are not the same size party.
But you were there before
Jubilee.
ODM.
Certainly.
Yes.
Even before Jubilee.
Yes.
Yes. But we are consistent. And we have got a very, very measured approach to our politics. Look at our structure.
Forget about the structure. I want you to paint for me the national picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. Our national profile.
Yes.
We have a member of parliament from Tana River.
Okay.
In Hola, in Galole constituency. The wards in that constituency, half are Ford Kenya. Go to Taita Taveta, which is in the coast. The Deputy Speaker of Taita Taveta is Ford Kenya. We have MCAs in Taita Taveta. Go to Mombasa, we have MCAs. Go to Kilifi, we have MCAs. Go to Kisii. In fact, compare our performance in Kisii with even a big party like ODM. In the whole of Kisii County and Nyamira County, ODM does not have a single member of the National Assembly, apart from the women rep and the governor, and the senator.
Yeah.
I have Richard Onyonga, my deputy, from Kisii County. Yes. I have Vincent Kemos Mogaka from West Mugirango in Nyamira County. We have Olaga Lodge from Kisumu, and we have members from Trans Nzoia, from Bungoma, We have Honorable Kibunguchi from Kakamega.
Western Kenya.
We have Mama Nasir Sahal from Wajir.
Leader, I get it. You have members, but I'm asking, my question is, apart from the pockets, a national representation...
These are not pockets. These are across the country.
Would you state that Ford Kenya remains the same party? You've said it's shrinking, but would you say that going into 2022, it remains the same vibrant party and it will be fielding a presidential candidate?
I have no doubt whatsoever that our party will field a presidential candidate.
Would that presidential candidate be Moses Wetangula as the party leader?
The party has already designated me as their presidential flag bearer.
So for the first time, Moses Wetangula...
But when we go to the elections, we are a democratic party. Anybody else can come and challenge me. And we'll go to nominations. If a winner for that ticket is not me, I'll support that winner. If it is me, I'll carry the ticket.
When is the last time Ford Kenya fielded a presidential candidate?
1997.
A presidential candidate?
Yes.
So for the first time, you're saying Ford Kenya...
1997. But you know, parties are about looking for power. And power, you can get it either on your own or with others.
A coalition.
Our highest level of leadership in this country was Wamalwa Kijana, our late vice president. When he became vice president, he didn't run for the presidency. At that time, there was no provision for running mate. He was not anybody's running mate.
But he was appointed...
He was appointed vice president. Because the structure of the coalition of NACA that we entered. So we remain a party that is seized with the situation of the politics of the country, and we will contest and get into power with others or others with us.
Now, your detractors who say that Moses Wetangula is in the business of threatening to run for president to bargain.
Those who have been saying that are the ones who have been bargaining for Moses Wetangula. Those who advised Moses Wetangula in 2013 that, look, as a party, let's look at our strength, let's look at our profile, let's look at our capacity. We're better off joining a coalition than going on our own. Ford Kenya then joined Wiper and ODM, and we formed the CORD coalition. We sat down. I was a candidate, Kalonzo Musyoka was a candidate, our brother Raila was a candidate, and we agreed that our best shot was Raila Odinga. We supported him, Kalonzo's running mate, and I had a role to play, which you know. Came 2017, Musalia Mudavadi joined us, Isaac Ruto joined us. Raila Odinga convinced us that he still had the capacity, the strength, and the ability
and you allowed him
to lead our coalition. We agreed, we signed the necessary protocols and agreements and MOUs, and we all supported him wholeheartedly. If we won, Ford Kenya would not be where we are. We would be part of
a government.
And when you are part of a government, it's like being a part of a winning team. The defender cannot be slighted for not scoring goals. He has to defend for somebody else to score.
As a striker to score.
You cannot slide the goalkeeper for not scoring goals.
Let me get this story out of the way, now that you've mentioned the NASA coalition. What is the real story behind not attending the swearing-in ceremony? What is the real story? The version that is told by Kalonzo Musyoka, the version that you hold, did Raila Odinga switch off his phone, really? Or you guys...
You really want us to continue flogging this story?
No, I just need to know
because
for the last... This is the last time.
You have interviewed me on this before.
Yes, I promise you this is the last time, now that you mentioned it. Did you not just attend?
Because the biggest problem with you guys, you journalists in this country, is every time you call us leaders for interviews, you want to run on the same spot.
No, just answer it for the last time. Just answer it for the last time.
And it is not right.
Okay, answer it for... I will not ask again.
We didn't attend the swearing-in at Uhuru Park. We had several meetings, and if you want me to repeat, I want to repeat to you that it was agreed between Raila Odinga, myself, Musalia, and Kalonzo that we don't go to Uhuru Park.
There was an agreement.
There was an agreement. But there are many other attendant factors that we don't need to go into. Let's look to the future, my brother.
Okay, so there was an agreement.
What happened in Uhuru Park?
I promise I'll not ask you that question
again. What happened in Uhuru Park is neither here nor there.
No, it is, because it's very important, because that is the beginning of the crack in NASA, because you did not attend. So if
I do not believe that that is the beginning of the crack in NASA.
Is it the party funds?
Yes.
Is it the party funds?
The biggest headache we have in NASA is the party funds.
Party funds, all right. It's a story for another day. Now, The other issue that I really want to talk about is the nature of your relationship. And this stems up out of the Luhya unity. What is the nature of your relationship with Musalia Mudavadi in terms of playing top league in Western Kenya? Are you, who comes first? Let me just put it to you. Who comes first when you look at Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, two huge parties in Western Kenya?
How can you ask such a question?
Just answer it, sir.
We are partners. Musalia leads a party.
Yes.
I lead a party. Our parties draw strength from various parts of the country. We also have a common primary constituency.
Okay.
Because you cannot divorce certain factors in our politics. We come from the same region. We draw our primary strength from the same region. And we have agreed with Musalia that we have to walk this journey together.
Together?
Yes.
Okay.
And we are walking this journey together.
Okay.
And we demonstrated in the last by-election that it is actually doable.
Okay.
I can tell you how it was done. In Matungu, in the last elections, ANC won in the general elections. Number 2 to the late Murunga was Peter Oscona Blindo, who was Ford Kenya's candidate.
Yes.
When calamity hit us, we agreed with Musalia and our parties that, look, this was a seat held by ANC. We will pull our energies together for you to retain the seat.
Yes.
And it happened in Kabuchai.
Kabuchai too.
And it has resonated extremely well with members of the Mlembe Nation and our primary constituency in the West.
Okay.
They see this as actually a reinvention of the Wamalwa dream when he pulled our people together.
Okay.
And united them into NAC.
I'm just wondering, because you just declared that you ran for president,
Yes.
you're working with Musalia Mudavadi.
Yes.
Musalia Mudavadi wants to run for president.
Yes.
Any of you will be willing to cede ground for the other?
There is no contradiction.
Okay.
Any one of us is as good as the other.
Moses is back in the race, and he just declared the other day that he is running. How does this complicate the equation for both you and Musalia?
It doesn't at all.
But he's declared, and that now...
A declaration of intent is different from actual actions. What I would want to encourage you to do, Ken, is we are running our race as Ford Kenya and ANC. We can see the price. We are on track. And we don't want distractions.
Okay, so he's a distraction.
Because the more we spend our energy on distractions, the more we lose our momentum. So we don't know what Mkhiza is up to and how he intends to run, or which party he belongs to, or which party is going to run with, or is going to run as an independent. That is up to him.
You floored him in the Senate?
Not once.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question still is, with the Luhya unity and the journey you're walking with Musalia, how complicated does it become?
It doesn't complicate anything at all. In fact, the other day I told Mkhiza, if you seriously want to be part of the leadership of this country, you don't have to pontificate over issues that are unhelpful.
Yes.
Join the team and we move together. At the end of the day, there will be only one president in the country. And you've seen us, myself, Kalonzo, Musalia, Gideon, moving together and declaring our intent to have an alliance.
What is the bond? What is the bond between these parties that you've just mentioned? What bonds you?
The interest of the country.
Are you sure it's not personal interest and you're tired of Raila Odinga?
The interest of the country.
Yes.
How can we be tired of Raila Odinga when we have been sitting with Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta in meetings in furtherance of the interests of the nation?
You stood at the podium. I saw Musalia Mudavadi stand at the podium, and most of it were about Raila Odinga. We've done this for you. We've campaigned for you, and finally it's your time to support us. Why can't you guys just run as independent? Must you invoke the name of Raila Odinga? You have to support. Without the support of Raila Odinga.
In life, Ken, a good turn deserves another. And I don't think it's outrageous to remind our brother Raila that I stepped back in 2013 for him. I stepped back in 2017 for him. Musalia stepped back in 2007 for him.
Yes.
He stepped back in 2017 for him.
Yes.
These are historical facts that you can't wish away. But and when you are running, you are in a political play, you want to pull advantage to yourself, including reminding you that yesterday we walked together and I did you a good turn.
Yeah.
Please
I held your hand.
Yes. Hold my hand also.
Would you
do you call that toxic? I don't think so. Do you call that outrageous? I don't think so.
But I just think on the podium, without
Yes.
mentioning and invoking, and you have to agree with me that he has a very huge following also in Western Kenya, although it's also shrinking. It doesn't sit well with me that you can't just stand on the podium, all of you, and not mention the support of Raila Odinga, or you can't sit in Mululu and not mention to Uhuru Kenyatta to pick one person. I mean, it's time for someone to, that time it was about Musalia
President Uhuru Kenyatta
yes.
is the president of the country today. He has a serious role to play in the politics, including succession.
Yes.
I don't think anybody is asking him or expecting him to pick one person and say, this is my successor. In fact, to do that is undemocratic, to say the least, and I don't think he's interested in doing that.
Okay.
But we are working with him, and we appreciate that he's working with us.
Okay. I have a few minutes, and I'd like to read for you this because it's something that is in Bukusu, and I'll translate it loosely. That,
if it's in Bukusu, you don't need any translation, I'll understand.
River Nzoia does not pour its water into River Kamisi.
I've heard that so many times. I've
Yes.
also said it, that streams are tributaries to rivers,
Yes.
and not vice versa.
Where do you stand?
That's a common Bukusu saying.
Which is true.
Yes.
So, loosely, it means that the support cannot come from the other side. It has to come from one side.
Not necessarily. Not, you know, when you come to a table to discuss a coalition building, it is a question of appreciating the synergies of everybody. It's a question of saying, look, Ken, you've come with this strength. It is probably not measurable to this strength, but you have a capacity that we can tap, and you can be the first among equals. When you come together, it doesn't necessarily mean that whoever has the largest numbers will be in the front. Not necessarily. You can sit down and say, look, like now BBI is bringing additional slots in leadership. One would expect that we are moving away from the quarrelsome politics and say, look, we have parties. What do you bring on the table, and what do you get out of it? When President Mwai Kibaki became the president of Kenya in 2002, the DP party that he led was not necessarily the largest party in the country.
Yes.
It wasn't. Okay. But he became the president, and he performed with great distinction.
Because of the support he had.
Yes.
As we wind up, I'd like to ask you one question that you have alluded to, the win in Matungu and the win in Kabuchai.
I didn't allude. It's actually a fact.
It's a fact.
Yes.
Just in the conversation, we didn't talk about it comprehensively.
Yes.
Looking at the number of votes you got,
yes,
the number of votes that ANC also got,
yes,
and obviously UDA gave you a run for the money. We saw what ODM with Were also did. Looking at the votes you got, are you confident that you performed well? Because these seats were yours for the taking. It was them for grab.
We performed exemplarily well.
Okay.
Look at Kabuchai.
Yes.
All the other candidates, about 6 of them, did not get half of the votes that the winner got.
Yes. But
in
at
fact,
least
the
it showed
winner,
that they have
the winning candidate got, in fact, more votes. Majimbo Kalasinga got more votes than what my late friend and my MP, James Mukwe, got in the general election.
I have the figures.
Yes, you've seen them.
I have the figures.
Yes,
yeah.
He got more.
But my concern is about the fact that they managed to get even votes in your stronghold, not even that you won.
In a contest, people will vote.
What does that say of your backyard? Because people are infiltrating and they are getting some people
Absolutely not. We won, and the end has justified our means.
Would you think...
And we are vindicated.
Yes.
In fact, my candidate got a landslide.
If you had a by-election or in Western Kenya, do you believe your candidate in Western Kenya would perform as good as the other candidates performed in your area for other political parties?
Oh, yes.
You are confident that
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But
lastly,
let's not wish to have a by-election.
By-election, yes, even a general
by-elections
election.
come out of death or people going to jail or
even
whatever.
Chapter 6 of the Constitution that is not, it's not being implemented.
If it was properly applied, yes.
Even Chapter 6, so it's not only about that.
Yes.
So finally, for you, Senator, if your party choose you for the first time and nominate you and you're interested in capturing power, would your name appear on the ballot?
Why not? Certainly.
Would you work with William Ruto?
I will not
for interest.
work with William Ruto for the simple reason that I'm already building another coalition. But in politics, you never say never.
I asked you that question.
Yes.
What bonds you together? You said interest of the country.
Yes.
You sure that is absolutely?
Absolutely. William Ruto is leading a team that is looking for what we are looking for. We have a team that's looking for what he's looking for.
If he came to your side, would you allow him to join Western Kenya?
In politics, anybody can work with anybody.
Look
at the history of our brother Raila Odinga. He has worked with Kibaki, he worked with Moi, he's worked with Ruto, he's worked with Musalia, he's worked with Weta, he's worked with Kalonzo, he's worked with President Uhuru, he's worked with everybody. Yes.
So that
is politics.
It's possible.
That is
now that you're running away from Raila Odinga, because that's what we see this coalition.
That is what you are saying.
No, but you've just stated this coalition is the interest of the country, what you're forming between Gideon...
We have been saying, and let me repeat for avoidance of doubt, that there is no coalition yet, because you know KANU of Gideon Moi belongs to the Jubilee coalition.
Yes.
Musalia's ANC for Kenya.
But you said you are making a coalition. You're working on something.
We are structuring. Yes.
You're confusing us.
No.
But it's a good place to end because we are
There is no coalition yet. And you know it.
Yes.
If there was a coalition, we would have filed our instruments with the register of political parties.
Let me finalize with this. First nominated to parliament by KANU, that's the late president. Right?
Yes.
You are the president's lawyer.
Yes.
Musalia Mudavadi was the vice president of Moi. He worked with Moi.
Yes.
Gideon Moi is a son, took over KANU.
Yes.
Look at, I mean, there's no coincidence in the...
Is there anybody in the politics of this country who didn't work with Moi?
No, forget about them. Talk to me about you people. It's us convenient.
As a team, and we have said, and let me repeat it to you today, that the four of us, former nucleus, our doors are wide open to anybody and everybody to join this exciting move to make it bigger.
What is the name of this
and
movement?
Unstoppable.
We know the Hustlers movement. What is the name of your movement? Because I've had Cerelac movement. Tell me your movement. What's the name?
You know, to the extent that there's no coalition, you can't have a name.
All right.
But we have variously said this is a sacred union.
Yes.
This is one Kenya movement.
Okay. So there will be a name if it's solidified.
Certainly, we can't lack a name.
I need to let you go. Thank you very much. 30 minutes of exciting
You can propose a name.
No, I'm not in any of those I'm not in any of those political parties.
Yeah, you may come and be our chief propagandist.
I like my job here. Did you say that?
You can become our General Joseph Goebbels.
Thank you very much, Moses, for coming and sharing your perspective. We hope to see you soon. The political field is just shaping up. 2022 is promising to be big. This is the first time we're succeeding a president under the proposed BBI, if it goes through.
It will go through.
I wanted to know your views. Kenyans will have the last say. You can't say that. You can't talk
because the mood looks like it will go through.
You have a moodometer.
If the votes in the county assemblies countrywide is anything to go by.
It said they were bribed. I can't have this conversation.
You know, the problem with Kenyans is every time you lose, somebody has bribed, somebody has been bought. Sometimes people win genuinely.
I am glad you came for this conversation. I'm looking forward to having another one. There's a lot of things we didn't speak about, especially before BBI passes, right?
Yes.
You're going to come back.
If you invite me.
I will invite you. Senator Moses Wetangula, thank you very much. And straight after this, remember my discussion, my conversation with Dr. Muluka. And today we're bringing James Mamboleo, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Jubilee is promising to oust, using NEC, the deputy president as the deputy party leader, not as the vice president or the deputy president. We'll have that conversation in a minute. I just need to let them sit. Stay with us. We'll be right back.